covering Northern California. You're watching Action News Now, coverage you can count on.
Protesting is a First Amendment right, but rioting is a crime. We break down where that line is drawn.
Plus, new at 6, a new executive order aims to streamline wildfire response with conditions starting to get hotter and drier.
And new details about the recent repeal of California's EV emissions rule and what it means for you. But first, we have the latest on the Clement fire that posed a big threat to homes in Shasta County this afternoon.
Yeah, it broke out in the area of Clement Court in Happy Valley, and it burned through about 20 acres. Action News Now reporter Blake Mayfield has been tracking this fire since it broke out. He joins us live from the scene. So what's the very latest that you have learned since we last checked in with you, Blake?
Alan, since we last talked, the fire is now 5% contained after CAL FIRE says it started around 1:45 p.m. this afternoon out here in Happy Valley. All evacuation warnings have been lifted on this fire as well out here in Happy Valley. The Clement fire is burning on private property just 2 miles west of the Happy Valley Market. Crews from Anderson Fire and Rescue, the Happy Valley Fire Department, and CAL FIRE have been out here for most of the afternoon extinguishing the flames. Firefighters responding to the situation from both air and land this afternoon. I spoke with CAL FIRE as well as a neighbor who saw the fire when it first broke out.
They came in heavy with bulldozers and fire trucks.
Everyone is safe. Resources are now being released, and we'll be having other resources that will stay on scene for the next 3 to 4 hours.
Now again, if you live out here near Clement Court in Happy Valley, you may see fire crews continuing their work, putting out the fire. Again, forward progress has been stopped with the fire at 5% containment as of 5 p.m. All evacuation warnings, again, have been lifted at this time. Reporting live in Happy Valley, I'm Blake Mayfield, Action News Now.
Thank you, Blake. We'll continue to track this fire as they continue to work to get a containment line around it.
The 16-year-old from Magalia convicted of vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated will spend the next 3 years in juvenile hall. We've been following this story since it happened back in December. Now, the Butte County District Attorney Mike Ramsey says a teen was driving a stolen truck when its owner, Robert Edo, was in the back of it. Edo was on the phone with 911 when it crashed.
New at 6, a rough landing for a plane near the Trinity River today. The Trinity County Journal, or the Trinity Journal, shared this photo of the plane, which officials say took off from Tracy and was found on rocks in Hyampom. The pilot apparently left on foot. For more information, head to our website at actionnewsnow.com. Now, taking a live look from the Alert California camera over Shasta County. This is kind of the same camera we were looking at to see the smoke from the Clement fire that Blake was just telling us about. No more plume, thankfully, from that fire, but still a bit hazy there over the north end of the valley.
Yeah, Sade Poland's tracking conditions for our Friday evening. Sade, fire weather wasn't too severe today. That was probably great news for firefighters out there.
Yes, and that's probably the reason why they were able to, get this fire under control. So this is a look at our temperatures right now. So for the valley, temperatures are in the 80s to 90s range. For our foothills, temperatures are in the 70s to 80s range. And then we have our mountains in the 70s range right now. Now, this is a look at our wind speeds currently. We do have some southeast winds. They will start to become calm after midnight. The highest that they are is 13 miles per hour in the valley. Foothills is at 10 miles per hour, and then our mountains is at 24 miles per hour. And I'll break that down more as we get throughout our newscast. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Sade.
New at 6, the city of Red Bluff says it's closed Sam Ayers and Dog Island parks as they prepare to clean homeless camps out of them. It all started at 7 this morning. The police department told Action News Now they plan to clean the park into the weekend and say the closures for safety reasons as they'll be using heavy equipment there.
Starting this Monday, you'll no longer be able to burn in Butte County. CAL FIRE is suspending all outdoor residential burn permits of debris like branches and leaves.
CAL FIRE says this is due to grass crops drying out, rising temperatures, and a drop in humidity too.
And about 200 Marines have moved on into Los Angeles to protect federal property and personnel. General Scott Sherman, who is overseeing the 4,700 troops deployed, said the Marines have finished training on civil disturbance and have begun operations. The Marines will help replace some of the 2,000 National Guard troops that have been on the streets of the city of Los Angeles protecting federal property since last week, when immigration raids set off protests. Now, this all comes after a federal appeals court temporarily halted a judge's ruling against President Trump's deployment of troops in response to ICE raid protests.
And with protests spreading to cities across the country, we looked into what is and what isn't allowed.
So we spoke to criminal law attorney Brendan Blake from NorCal Criminal Law. He gave some advice to those who ever want to consider protesting. So take a listen.
Make how you feel and what you're expressing and what you're protesting known, but do so in a fashion that doesn't endanger people and in a fashion that is not disturbing law enforcement's ability to do their job and not disturbing essentially the city and the town's ability to function as normal.
Blake also advises protesters to follow instructions from law enforcement and record interactions with their cell phones.
We have new details about the recent repeal of California's EV emissions plan. It would have included a ban on new gas-powered car sales by 2035 and allow California to set its own tailpipe emission standards. Yesterday, President Donald Trump signed a bill reversing those standards, prompting Governor Gavin Newsom and the state attorney general to fire back with a lawsuit. Action News Now reporter Margot Rowe shows us what a reversal could mean for me and you.
California's EV mandate was revoked this week, ending the ban on gas-powered engines that was to take effect in 2035. It also ended other mandates to help lower emissions and smog levels in the state.
We are currently meeting federal health standards for smog, which is good news. However, there are other areas of California that are still not meeting federal health standards.
While many other counties relied on the mandate to lower smog levels, Butte County Air Quality Planner Jason Manley says Butte was never really relying on that mandate. While vehicle emissions can contribute to poor air quality, wildfires are the main culprit here.
Wildfires are currently probably our biggest issue here in Butte County as far as air quality. The current electric vehicle mandate, it could help further improve ozone concentrations here in Butte County, but at this time, we're not expecting us to backslide and have poor air quality on average.
While we might not see much of a change in air quality in our area, the revoking of the mandate might actually help with sales for non-domestic electric vehicles.
So I think our EVs will perform a little better than what they have now that it is on that even playing field.
General Manager Ryan Sutton of Chico Nissan explained to me if you purchased an electric vehicle, you would get a rebate, but only for domestic EVs. Now, that rebate is off the table.
Now that we are on a little bit more even playing field, I do really feel like we probably will start selling more EVs than we did in the past when we didn't qualify for that rebate. So, I think it'll all depend on the market conditions.
Sutton says he is glad the mandate is gone, as it would have served as a challenge for his business, since majority of the vehicles are gas-powered. Reporting in Chico, I'm Margot Rowe for Action News Now.
Sutton also told us that there's been an increase in demand for used electric vehicles due to how advanced the technology is and because they continue to hold up. New developments, a big boost for commercial flights in our region.
The FAA has awarded more than $24 million to fix up the runway at the Redding Regional Airport. Representative Doug LaMalfa announced the project, saying the funding he announced the grant, saying the funding will improve safety and ensure that it's a reliable option to fly out of Redding. In a statement, Redding's airport manager, Andrew Solzvig, said that the airport runway is old and in need of a revamp, and said some improvements will include resurfacing, upgrading lighting, and replacing signage.
The CHP says it recovered 400 pounds of marijuana last night thanks to a canine officer. Check this out. Officials say they found these bags filled with the drug during a traffic stop on a commercial vehicle. Officers say it smelled overwhelmingly like marijuana and that they called in canine Robbie to locate all of it. We called CHP Northern Division to find out if any arrests were made and where exactly this happened. We're still working to get you those answers, and we'll keep you up to date.
Sutter County Sheriff's deputies arrested 2 people they say stole more than 100 pieces of mail, including checks, debit, and credit cards. They say that they arrested Maciel Casares and Crystal Solis Hirschkorn after receiving multiple reports of thefts from community mailboxes the week of June 2nd. Now, the sheriff's office says they served a search warrant at a home in Yuba City on Tuesday where they found the stolen property. Casares and Solis Hirschkorn were booked on charges including identity theft and possessing documents of 10 or more people with intent to defraud. Some good news: an Oroville woman celebrates a major milestone in life. We'll tell you about the life of our region's newest centenarian.
But first, tensions continue to rise in the Middle East. We show you how Iran is striking back on Israel.